Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 9:06 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, September 14th. So, just looking at really what's going on. There is no further scheduled news today. We had small business index at 6 a.m. Eastern. We had CPI at 8:30. We actually had Red Book at 8:55, which I don't even list because it's so insignificant. And there's no other scheduled news today. For earnings, we had Oracle after the bell last night. There is no one before the bell today or after the bell today that I find noteworthy. So looking back at yesterday's action, so after our Friday plunge, right back into that halfway back long on the next monthly sequence, right? That happened in the overnight for the ES, and then you know we opened up higher, come back down, retested that entry, come back up towards resistance, went back down, took out anyone who had went under there that didn't have a stop underneath the 61.8. Most people don't have a 25, 26 point stop, so that would have been most everybody. And then as we get to the close, right at 3:05 Eastern time, the market started made a new low and started heading up for the rest of the day. And that low at 3:05 and that move up was pretty much with all the indexes yesterday. So looking back at our linear regression channel, we didn't even make it to the buy last time on August 19th. We'll have to find out later this week if this is indeed the low or not, but we did not make it to the buy zone. Again, you can see just a little bit of space. I'll zoom in here for you between that and this time. This time was a little bit closer. It would have been really right around 30.31 yesterday. So we'll see what happens. We still have room to the downside, pretty much all the way down to 43.61, but 44.10, 44.05 would be difficult to get past. If you look at futures right now, they're at 44.74, let's call it. That would be right in the middle of this, the wide part of the body from yesterday. The high was around 83.5. The low was 63, and we're looking at 73 right now. Looking at, again, yesterday's point of control was around mid 70s. We ended up making a point of control for today at 44.52. Now, for once, we are above that a little bit. So we'll see if 52 trades today or not. It's potential, right, that we come down to that buy zone on both the Fibonacci's and the linear regression channel. That that was the low for the week. We have to keep that in mind as possible. I think it's unlikely, but let me rephrase that. I don't think we're skating up to all-time highs without consolidating around here. I don't know if we'll actually make another incremental lower low or not, but I think we'll see how today and tomorrow play out. Right now, we have traps. So my title of my video is CPI and Traps. So we have, let me just do it this way for you. We have bulls, right, potentially trapped up here. If they're short term, they're going to be itching to get their money back. If they're long term, they really don't care. And then you have bears trapped basically down here. So what I'm guessing for today is we're going to get more of a no man's land trade in between them. So that'd be basically, excuse me, right around 44.80 up to 45.15. Give or take a couple points. That's what I'm expecting is for us to trade between the traps today. We'll see if that indeed plays out. Obviously, getting any traction below 52 and developing value even lower once again would be significantly bearish. Looking at the midterm time frames, looking at the Russell's still sitting here, trapped back under 22.52 again, right? So from 29 to 52 is a range, from 15 to 29, and from 52 to 67, and then 83 is what I'd be looking at for the Russell. Looking at the ES, remember we had drawn this top box last week, and I put a double box down here. You can see that it went back down and flushed. So we still have lots of overhead supply, basically, between where I was saying that we have traps. So if you look, you can clearly see on the chart, if you mark it yourself, that between that area I'm talking about, if you just look left on the chart, between 45.15 and 45.80, you have, traders above that level, right, and traders below that level. You have a few, right, that are at that level from last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe Tuesday in there too, that, they're going to be a little happier as we retrace back up there. Looking at, let's go back and just look at basic support resistance. So I got 62 half, 55 half, and 33 half. Below 33, I would still be watching 25 and 15. And then above, I really don't have any thing measured other than what I've already noted. Above like 10 to 45, 10 to 15. I'm still not putting anything up there at this point in time. And then very similar picture for the NASDAQ, right? You got a little bit of traps below 15,450, let's call it 15,450. And then you've got clearly, once you start hitting 15,520 to 15,560, you've got interesting traders above there. Should be harder to get through, right? If it speeds through it, that'd be entirely different. I'm not expecting a speed through trade. That is a potential, right? There are some theorists out there that think this overhead supply, after it's been flushed, when you return back to where it was, that you quickly go from the end to end. Internals would have to be very strong, and we'll see some signs of that. I'm not expecting that. Doesn't mean it can't happen. It is a slim possibility, in my opinion, though. Looking at the Dow, you have basically 35,000 plus or minus, let's just call it 60 points, is going to be your resistance above. And then before that, you're just floating around. I still have 34,565 to 30. I'm sorry, let me rephrase. 34,566 and 65 up to 34,942 is what I'll be watching today. Looking at the overnight action, 28 points. You can see it's all inside of at the low, right? No real traction below 52, right? Come down there, tested that point of control overnight, and then responded back up with a CPI print. So again, bears are trapped down there. But if we look at that longer term picture, right, we have lots of bulls trapped ahead. And then 4506, right around that 4505 would be where the 21.4 is. That could clearly be resistance. And then we could spend a lot of the day between 72 and 6 potentially, but I still think that they're not going to give the bears a break. I don't really see us generating down too much. I think we're going to trade between the traps, like I said. Looking at all the indexes for the Russell, we still have some overhead supply, single prints that'll separate the distribution. The top of the distribution is 2254 basically. The bottom of that is 2250. Looking at the NASDAQ, below yesterday's bell low is what you can watch for it. For the ES, above you have some single prints. The top of those single prints are at 44.90, so 44.88 to 44.89 is where you're watching for those single prints. And same thing with the Dow, below yesterday's bell low is that. So pullbacks, I would think today have the potential, if we're going to have a little bit of a squeeze, I would only take the squeeze up, like I said, to 45.05 to 45.15. You better start laying it out up there. I wouldn't look for a dead reversal. Depends on how quickly it happens. It could even just consolidate below it and even push through it later this afternoon is a possibility, just to screw the bears some more. I don't think that's on the table. We'll see. I'll be live today doing an analysis. So if you want to, we can do that. Ask questions anytime. I will talk to you tomorrow. The rest of you, I will see in the trade room. That'll be starting up around 9:40 this morning. I hope this helps. But remember, you're more than likely going to trade between the traps on all four of these indexes today. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.